Mbali asks, I have a degree in BSc Environmental Sciences. I'm really struggling to get something. I've been unemployed for the past 12 months and I'm very frustrated. I need help.
How do you like that, eh? Cool. I hope the mic is working pretty well. Mbali, well, first of all, Happy New Year. Thank you for the great and somewhat repetitive question in the sense that we actually get quite a lot of inquiries from people that want to find out, how to leverage off their environmental study degrees and diplomas. And yeah, man, actually, we were driving around the area and I thought, I think it's probably best that we just capture this in a different environment. I mean, we're always in the office. And anyway, I mean, I grew up in these kind of backgrounds. Well, not exactly here, I didn't grow up in the dump, but these are places that we definitely are familiar with. Look, Mbali, well done with your qualification. It's unfortunate that for the last 12 months you obviously haven't been able to secure something that has kept you busy. Environmental studies, what would probably interest me the most is why you actually studied that. And I'm going to assume here, remember, I'm assuming only because we don't have a two-way channel, a live channel to kind of ask those questions, but I'm going to assume that perhaps you pursued it because it was the only qualification at the time. It was probably the only spot at varsity that you could actually pursue, and you went for environmental studies. I don't have a problem with that. That mistake happens quite a lot if it is that specific mistake, and you can correct me. There's no problem. Even if you kind of chose this career path, knowing exactly what it is that you want to do with it. Environmental studies, usually people will just think, okay, well, I'm going to go work for some maybe local government department, a local government association, and kind of clean the streets, right? Solve these kind of issues. And of course not. It's pretty broad than that. I mean, there's companies that are in innovation where they innovate around even just equipment, equipment that basically solves waste management. In fact, there's a waste truck just right behind us. And there are companies that involve themselves in research, right, around environmental studies. From a government perspective, there are institutions that are obviously mandated with ensuring that we don't have this in the background. And I mean, this is all over Africa. It's not just in the south tip of Africa. It's all over Africa. But what I would advise you to do is, besides just getting in contact with us, because there's a series of questions that we need to ask and understand exactly where your mind frame is at, is just basically, which companies have you approached? Which companies do you know offhand? If I was to ask you, which companies have you applied for? How many of those are you aware of? How many of those have you approached? Because it's one thing, getting your qualification. It's another actually, applying to the right institution. It's another thing applying for the right qualification. It's another thing actually being able to identify those opportunities. And I know sometimes it's hard because data is expensive. You may not have the resources to always be on the internet, and I appreciate that. But in the little that you do have and where you actually do approach and look for opportunities, you need to know where to look. Are you applying for the right opportunities? Are you even finding them? Are you actually seeing them in the first place? And that's where we come in and try and help you. Now, of course, it's very difficult for us because, hey, man, we've been hustling from one-man band to three-man band to 7, to 10, to now sponsoring hundreds of students in various opportunities across the country and hopefully across Africa. It's a bit, we can't cover everywhere. But the fact that you've asked this question, we're going to include you in a campaign that we are going to, push for the next 60, 180 days, where we basically look for just normal citizens that are keen on ensuring that people like yourself that are struggling to actually even find those opportunities are assisted by people like us. All right. So don't despair. In terms of where you should look, how you should look, as well as what avenues to pursue, we'll assist you. All right. So environmental studies, we need more of you because we need less of this.